Okay, let's talk about smart cities. Just before I start, I have been in the space for about 13 years now. The first day I got hired at Cisco, I was actually presenting smart cities in Africa. This was basically one of the first markets, China, India, and Africa, where we looked at, because new cities have been built up at this point in time, and everything started at this point in time with a network. We didn't have the opportunity with regards to the Internet of Things and the applications. This was not all given at this point in time. So it's a long journey so far, and I'm going to present today a few things, how it has been developed and what the opportunity is overall. Nowadays, no matter where you go, and I travel a lot, I cover around 130 countries, no matter where I go and which mayor I meet, the topic of smart cities is present everywhere. Last week in New York, the week before I was in Dubai attending GITEX, I have met customers from Afghanistan even. Kabul wants to turn into something smart. They told me, tried to convince me to go there, to Kabul. It's cheap, one-way ticket only. But I denied. So it's really ongoing. Whether Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Oslo, Dortmund, small cities, big cities, irrespective, everyone wants to basically look into this topic and wants to turn their city into a digital city. This, by the way, which you see here, the ranking has been published 2 weeks ago out of a report, and through different methodologies they come up with a ranking, and as you can see, it's no surprise, Singapore being one of the top smart cities in the world, followed by Zurich, Oslo, Geneva, and so on and so forth. So why are they doing this, and what is the opportunity? And this is, now we are talking actually about connecting the unconnected. This is what we call the Internet of Things. It has even evolved to the Internet of Everything. So the difference between the two is Internet of Things is process data and the device, and Internet of Everything is you add a person to it. So that is basically, the Internet of Everything. In smart cities, it's very much IoT related, but it also evolves now into, the IoE. You see 4 billion streetlights we have globally, 4 billion streetlights. Consuming energy, I have no idea how much, but I'm sure a lot. When you turn your streetlight, your regular streetlight, into a smart streetlight, adding a sensor into it, for a city, it saves up to 70% in energy. This is return of investment after 6, 7, 8 years for a city. So number one topic in every city today. Even the EU is funding big projects, infrastructure projects related to street lighting. Parking. It's, I think in Paris there was a research being done that a Parisian person spends 4 years of his life finding a parking spot, simply because they don't know where free parking spots are available. Here also you just connect the unconnected parking spots with the device, and it's been published on an app or in your navigation system later on, hopefully, and you get the route and you can pay and everything is fine. The environment, quite important as well. We see more and more air pollution issues. It's a topic in the UK, big time. It's a topic in Germany. They start closing roads for specific cars because the environment is being affected, so we need to do something about it. But a sensor won't be able to solve this problem, but it will let you know what the air pollution is about in this area. It will give you the level of CO2, it will give you the level of PMP and what we have. So you can react on the data. If you know what you have, then you can also react on the data, and this is all about that. Water, of course, water quality measurement, then traffic control systems. Many control systems, traffic control systems are still dumb systems. You stand in front of a red light, like every other car as well. No need for it, so why not talking to each other? But this will change automatically when we have car-to-car communication coming up. Cities are investing also in video surveillance. You see more and more public safety and security installations happening globally, even though data privacy is still an issue. But it's becoming more and more GDPR compliant, simply because You start analyzing at the edge in the device, and decisions will be made also in the edge, meaning that this is not anymore cloud computing, it's called fog computing. And then passenger journeys, 200 million alone in the metros going to be connected. You will see Wi-Fi in the metros. We have done big projects in Moscow, etc. This experience is also going to change. All of this, 4 billion, 20 million, 100 million, and so forth and so on, all of these sensors create data. Clive Humby, a UK mathematician in 2006, quoted as having said, data is becoming the new oil. And he didn't mean that as a precious commodity, that this is like only valuable as to sell it. It is more like the process. Data is being generated. It's like crude oil. When you have crude oil, to have it at the end in your car, it has to go through a very big process. And this is the same with data. Data needs to get aggregated, or start with collecting, aggregated. It needs to be normalized, analyzed, and then you need to take advantage of it in the right format of the use you want to do. You want to have an outcome out of this. So that's why he was saying that data is becoming the new oil. And we agree to this to some extent. Cities today, they are collecting already data. It's not that cities are not doing this. They do it. Even 5 years ago, they start doing it. There's sensors in buses. There is sensors for the environment. They might be bigger sensors than available sensors today, but cities are collecting data today. But the problem, what they're doing is, they do it in a complete fragmented approach, and this is inefficient. Cities, the biggest problem and the biggest challenge for us vendors, which are going horizontal, are seeing that cities are transacting and acting in silos. So every department on its own is investing into their own infrastructure. Starting with a network, for instance, the parking department, they know they want to do something about parking. They invest into a wireless infrastructure on their own. They don't talk to the waste department. Maybe they can use the same infrastructure, for the same purpose. That means it leads duplication investments. Doesn't make any sense. It's inefficient, it's not economical, and definitely not scalable. So our approach in Cisco is, that's very high level. I will explain later on a bit more in detail, but this goes in line with the crude oil. Everything starts with a network, of course. So see the network as a transport layer for your data. You need the refinement, and here there's 3 letters called CKC, which is a product of ours. It's called Cisco Kinetic for Cities, which is a platform aggregating the data, normalizing the data. This is basically the refinement as the oil. And you have digital pipelines, which basically transfers the data in a secure way to your parking, lighting, traffic, and so forth and so on. And at the same time, it makes it visible to an operations center or to an application, any type of partner application, what we have. With this, you basically have then aggregated and normalized data, and the city can actually run it on a horizontal level. But that's definitely a challenge still today. Once you have an integrated approach, you have then integrated sensors, you have normalized domains across all the verticals, you can share the data between the different departments. That is very crucial. I want to go on this point specifically. Interconnecting data is basically one of the new things we are looking at. So meaning that you combine, for instance, your environmental data with your traffic data. Meaning, as an example, let's say the CO2 level in this district of the city is very high. You know that there's a lot of traffic. The system automatically can deliver an information to the traffic system to reduce the speed automatically, so in order to reduce the CO2 level. And this is by what I mean with integrated data. You basically share the data between the different departments. And this is only possible if you have a system like this, an integrated approach. So this, of course, will give you true operational insights. It will create new opportunities and new synergies and so forth and so on. There is not many cities which are going this way, but there is many cities which understand this now. And the let's say in the last 18 months, the RFPs we have seen when it comes to street lighting or when it comes to parking, they ask already about horizontal platforms in these RFPs. So that means companies like Cisco have done their job and basically give enough guidance to the cities that they start rethinking the way they act. So how do you do all of this as a city? Like when I met last time the mayor of the city of Sarajevo, he had the same question, or I was in Kiev, especially in these emerging countries. How do we start? What can we do about this? And this is basically actually a good slide representing the way to do and the way to go into this journey. So first of all, smart cities is a journey. There is no final destination. It's an ongoing process. You start somewhere small. You have a project here, you have a pilot there, you have a proof of concept there. Whether you find your proof points or not, you could go and scale in a specific district or in a region of the city, whatsoever. But it will not stop, and it's not something which you can buy. There's no mayor waking up in the morning and says, oh, I'm going to buy a smart city now. That doesn't work. It's an ecosystem. So second of all, it's about the citizen. It's not about the technology. The technology is an enabler. You can use the technology as a key enabler to basically collect data, to analyze data and all of that. But it has to be benefiting the citizen in the end. It's always about the citizen, because increasing the quality of life is the ultimate goal of being a smart city. It's not like that the city wants to become more profitable, which could hopefully lead also to more wealth for the citizens, but we need to not to forget that this is about the people. The three main objectives cities have is they want to lower the costs, the operational costs of the running infrastructure of the city. Number two, they need to create jobs, retain talent. They want to promote their startups, like Sarajevo is doing at this event. Your own startups, you have to promote them so that this will boost the economy in your city. And of course, you need to improve as a city the quality of life. What are the 4 steps to succeed? And this goes in line with what I was explaining before. Cross-departmental initiatives. Bring everyone on one table in your departments. As a city leader, you need to have a visionary, of course, as well as a city to drive all of that. But he needs to basically make sure that all departments are sitting on one table and discussing the challenges they have in the city locally. And come up with solutions, hopefully, for the local problems. Second of all, and this is what we are doing today already, is like creating your local ecosystem. It's not a one single vendor strategy, a smart city concept. It is about an ecosystem. You need to involve your startups, you need to involve your universities, you need to involve your entrepreneurs, you need to involve local companies, and you need to also involve, of course, service providers, global companies, all of this together, the way you as a city prefer it, so that you can actually address and solve local problems and develop local solutions for the local problems. And this is only doable if you basically create your own local ecosystem. The city needs also to be open for private-public partnerships and people. That's very important, and this is also a good example with Sarajevo Unlimited, the event itself and networks. There is private-public partnerships, and this is absolutely a good starting point. And if you're very advanced, you should have cross-departmental budget. I haven't seen it yet in many cities. The city of Dortmund, for instance, they have created a layer where they generate or get budgets from the different departments, they put it on a horizontal layer and then basically consume it at the horizontal level. Another important aspect is to become a smart city, have an open platform, not open source, rather an open platform where you can connect your startups to, where you can have your entrepreneurs and everybody looking at and basically being part of the open platform, the horizontal layer. The private sector, the startups, the public sector, everyone involved, addressing the open platform, looking for the use cases they want to achieve, which creates then in the end new services. It will create jobs, will be more sustainable, you will be collaborative more, and in the end it will, help you with increasing the quality of life. The initiative across all departments, this is an example from the city of Dortmund, and in Dortmund basically we started with this journey 2 years ago, and they started with workshops as well. We had a 2 days workshop with the city of Dortmund. They got 200 participants from all over the city and from neighbor cities. And in these 2 days workshops, we formed basically expert teams afterwards because they wanted to follow up with these alliance. They call it now Alliance Smart City Dortmund. And they created expert teams around 6 topics. This is like mobility and logistics, platforms and citizen services, demographical change, and what we have. These expert teams reporting into a project management office, which they have created as well. It's absolutely need, when you go this journey, that you as a city have a smart city management office in place, because you need to manage a lot of requests. You need to maybe look after EU funding. You need to maintain these expert teams. You need to come up with or share these ideas they have. It's a management, project management requirement needed. So for Smart City Dortmund, after they have implemented all of that, they achieved a lot of things. First of all, they have around 150 partners who are signing up for a partnership agreement where they pay a membership fee. So this generates some revenue. They have the Smart City office. They received 30 million of EU funding, 20 ongoing proof of concepts in place. They have their own website. And they've been awarded the most digital city in Germany. So all because they have done this initiative, which is, I think, a good thing. Now, becoming a little bit more technical and going into the solutions we have and what you can do if you have these different things I just explained in place. Like you have your open platform, you have a smart city management office, you know the 4 steps to succeed. What could this mean? So our technical approach for smart cities, and this is a high-level architecture, which explains basically the setup of your network in the city. This is based on 3 layers. So you have at the bottom the street layer, where you have all your sensors, your cameras, your environmental sensor, your waste sensor, and what we have. These sensors are delivering data. They go on and off and say yes, no, very basic data, if it's not a video camera, of course. This data has been transported to as I said before, through your digital pipelines, through the network in a secure way, and then going into the platform, the yellow button here, which is sitting in a data center, either hosted in the cloud or hosted on-premise. The customer can decide. Some of them, they wanted to get it out of the cloud. Some of them, they want to have it in their own premises. Goes into the platform, which is called Cisco Kinetic for Cities. It's like a middleware, if you will, which aggregates all the data from the street layer. It analyzes the data, and it puts the data in the right model you need it for. It normalizes even the data. So this platform is completely vendor agnostic. That means anybody who is interested to connect to the platform from your startup scene, if you have a service, can connect to this platform. It's open API, it's very simple to connect to, and then basically you have at the 3rd layer, the application layer, where you then have either an operation center, an application, where you can see and react on the data you have collected. And this is basically how it looks like in reality. It's a typical smart city dashboard. It's a Cisco product. It's called, as I said before, Cisco Kinetic for Cities dashboard. And this is just an example. We have 100 installations now globally. So basically what the city manager sees is like he goes into his lighting domain, he now understands and knows what the parking situation is, how many parking spots have been occupied, what is my parking revenue. He can even change the pricing, he can offer a happy hour parking at this time, he can set policies, he can take out reports, how my parking revenue has been increased. So he can basically fine-tune and look after the different services. We also have a domain called urban mobility. Here you can get a sense of the traffic situation. You will get to know how many cars, how many trucks. We differentiate between cars, trucks, bikes, motorbikes. So you can plan your city in a different way. It's not about like publishing the data and making someone, it's not about like data privacy or there's no personalized data being shared. It's more like for city planning. The city can better plan road construction, they can, direct the traffic in a different way, and so forth and so on. Environment, here we measure multiple different elements, CO2, noise, temperature, humidity, and I gave you an example about environment, what you can do with environment. And one good example in I don't know where it was, whether in Prague or Copenhagen, where they have this solution as well. They are basically publishing the environmental situation over a jogging app for the citizens so that they can tell the joggers to rather jog this way instead of the other way, so the more healthier way. Because there's really big differences, even just from this road to this road. If there's a lot of traffic, the CO2 level is like a disaster. So they can give an advice which route to go. It's a good citizen service. Safety and security, here there's a video wall integration. You basically get a video if you have video cameras in place. And waste management, it's very simple. You connect your public waste bins with a fill sensor. It gives you an indication if this waste bin is full or empty, so that the waste collectors can optimize their route by just having this information in place. I want to show you a quick demo of a new partnership we have signed up. I'm just looking after the time. That's good. We are fine. We have signed up a partnership with a company called Carbine, and they're also connected to our platform. This is one of our recent partnerships we have done, and this is quite innovative. They do emergency response in cities. So the solution, basically, it's just a software piece. It's related to video as well, but what the solution does is, I can actually show it to you. This is a dashboard of Carbine, and here at the right corner, you see also our kinetics. So a call comes in through 911, 112, any type of emergency number you have in your country. So let's say Casey Harris is calling. She has she sees a house burning. The system shows immediately the location of the person. She accepted, of course, in a private chat room while she was calling. She gets a text message. She accepts that my location can be shared, and not just the location, but also the video camera of the phone. So you extend your video network through the citizens. So she gave the acceptance because she called 911. She sees a house is burning in my city, in my place. I call the fire workers, I call the emergency number. She gets a text message. She says, yes, I accept. Location is known, and the live video stream of her mobile phone is known. There is no application required whatsoever. It's through Google AML and Apple. It's been signed up with these guys. They have 150 million users after 2 years already. And you can start now dispatching. Can you remove this tone? So you basically can start now reacting on this type of data as the emergency responders. You can dispatch cars. You can say ambulance needs to be there, fire workers needs to be there. On the right-hand corner, there's 2 other screens. So he took also on this side. He took also an existing camera feed in addition to the camera feed from the mobile phone, and he sent a drone as well with a camera at the same time. So he can start reacting on these things in a very good way. And not just, the benefits are, unlimited. Unlimited. He was telling me about stories in Mexico. 6 girls got raped because of this system. They were found immediately, and location was shared. Even the voice was gone. And with this system, they found them. This is another good ROI as well. This was installed somewhere in Spain. It's in Spanish, sorry for that, but I can explain it to you. 2,800 calls, video calls in a month they received this was a small install. Out of the 2,800 video calls they had at this month, 280 heart attacks. So people were calling emergency 111 because they felt like they have a heart attack. Usually, what will happen is they send an ambulance immediately. But since they have the video of the mobile phone, they realize this guy doesn't have a heart attack. He feels like having a heart attack, but he doesn't have a heart attack. Because if you have a heart attack, you have a heart attack. It's different. But some people believe they have a heart attack, but it's just like, I don't know, maybe whatever. 42% reduction in dispatched ambulances in 1 month because of, reality. So these things are only possible, these type of solutions are only possible if you have a centralized, horizontal platform in place and collecting the data in the right, secure way, taking advantage of the data, not misusing the data, as many people asking me, is it not being misused? Can it be hacked? Of course, this can happen, but if you have the right, robust, mature, and safe network in place, it won't happen. It's just a matter of the design of the architecture. And with this, just to summarize, we have been nominated from Navigant Research as Cisco being the market leader #1 in smart cities. We have done a lot of different installations worldwide. We have experience since 13 years in this field. Award-winning platform in 2018, 2017. Let's see what will happen in 2019. You can visit us in Barcelona next month at the Smart City World Expo Congress, which is happening between 19th to the 21st of November. We have a big booth. We're going to present live demonstrations. We have lots of customers, big delegations coming from all over the world. And that's it. Thank you for your attention and have a great rest of the day.